columnist, in a suit. Well, not a suit and tie, but a nice little sport coat. These writers, man, they really dress up the joint, don't they?
I wanted to make a good appearance because I've been telling you I'd come into the studio for I think it's been 6 months now.
At least 6 years now.
So
yeah, exactly.
I figured I better make a good appearance.
Fair enough. Good to hear you. Good. Thanks for coming in. STLtoday.com with the Sports Guys at Night, and you join us every Monday. Matheny said all the right things yesterday, right? You're supposed to back up your players. You're supposed to have their back, but ultimately, Yadi or Molina's got to have a little tougher skin than that.
I think I disagree on this one.
Really?
I don't
You're
have a problem.
today.
I don't have a problem with what Yadi or Molina did. I think the person who had the best view of what he did was the umpire,
right,
who very clearly said that, look, I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
This was the guy who Yadi or Molina was pushing to try to get to Lovello. So,
right.
Technically, Yadi probably should have been ejected.
Right.
The umpire used his discretion to say, I know he wasn't pushing me. I was just simply injecting myself to try to stop him from getting at Lovello.
A very nuanced, smart umpire.
I appreciated that, because he knew what the intent was. And the intent is everything we talk about in baseball. I don't have a problem with Lovello coming out. Obviously, as soon as he comes out, he gets ejected. But, a manager, as Yadi said, should not talk about an opponent, whether it's a manager or another player, in that fashion. And I think that word, look, no one likes being called what he said. And I don't know why everyone's acting like they can't. Obviously, we can't say what he said in a broadcast setting or in the newspaper, but we know what he said.
Right.
It's not.
Thank goodness for social media. I had to go to social media to find out what he said.
Yadi said what he said, multiple times after the game to reporters.
Right.
And also, you could hear it on the field mic replay. So it's not some big mystery what he said.
Right.
You could read his lips and also hear it.
Okay.
So you can't call that to a guy and expect not to get. Look, we all have buddies, right?
We
all know guys.
If
somebody was called that in a bar or at work. Different guys respond in different ways.
Well, we've all seen Bull Durham, which is in the same category.
Right.
Okay. But with that being said, in a perfect world, I agree with you, right? But what's to say somewhere down the line, it's a tight game, they send the worst player up, picks a fight with Yadi or Molina, and Angel Hernandez is the ump and throws him out of the game.
Yeah, I don't think this will become a strategy, but because I think the players have a little more respect for each other, and the game has a way of policing itself.
Right.
No one likes to talk about that aspect.
Well, that's what I said earlier
we don't talk
today.
about it much anymore since Tony La Russa left, but you can't throw a beanball at a manager.
No.
And that's kind of, I think, what Yadi was frustrated by is this. I only have one option to show I'm frustrated with this guy, and it's to go after him.
No, and I don't think Molina, thought, you know what? I can't throw it to manager. I mean, it was clearly a reaction to it. And I don't mind what Molina did, but the next pitch should have been in the guy's ear and said, "Tell your manager, don't call me that." But
that guy didn't. The next batter didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
and I don't think it was a planned thing. I think, and Yadi had no problem with the manager arguing balls and strikes. He was standing there minding his own business.
Well, right.
It was when the manager referenced
framing the pitch.
But that's his job.
No,
and I think he knows that people are going to complain about that. I don't think he had any problem with the intent of the conversation.
Right. No,
I think
agree.
what happened was that word was used to describe him. And he was not going to stand there and act like he didn't hear it.
Right, but President Trump criticizes people all day long and name calls them all day long.
Well, if he criticized Molina in the same room, he might have the same results.
All right, fair enough. Good. All right. Week into the season, what? The Cardinals are, 4-5?
Yeah, they're hanging in there, 500-ish. And they've got, it's weird. It's cold outside. It's freezing cold. They've never played games this cold. The offense is come and go.
Right.
There are games when they jump on. I think what we're going to see from this offense, it's going to be better than it has been, but it's also probably going to be streaky, like in terms of having big innings.
Right.
They're going to have big innings. That's something to pay attention to. And also, they need better starts. Luke Weaver was great yesterday, and it's a shame they couldn't get a win for him. It's kind of funny. Their two best starts, they haven't won. Luke Weaver, Jack Flaherty, when he was up, and some of the other guys have struggled. The rotation needs to kind of lock it in here.
I know we're only 9 games into the season, but I would rather have Ozuna than Mike Stanton. Mike Stanton strikes out 20 times already.
2 games with 5 strikeouts. Something that has never been done before in baseball. And he's 10 games into the season.
Good thing he's making $30 million a year.
Yeah, he's also going to hit a lot of home runs. So I think he'll be okay. But I mean, I tell you what, I've been high on Ozuna since since they got him, since even before, when it was kind of laid out as which Marlins outfielder do you want. I would have wanted Stanton first, but after that, I would have wanted Ozuna far before Christian Yelich because I think he was the hitter the Cardinals don't have. And you're starting to see it. He has the power that you saw in Milwaukee. He's also just a really good hitter. He finds ways, if he's down in the count, he finds a way to get on base. He'll go the other way. He's a complete hitter. He's not just a home run or bust guy.
I like Martinez. I think he is a diamond in the rough.
It's really incredible. It's it was one of the best stories in baseball when he came on strong at spring training. And then you go, okay, well, can he keep it going? Well, every time they put him in the lineup, he hits.
Right.
He's going to make the occasional, mistake at first base. He's not a true first baseman.
Right.
I do think he's a better first baseman than he is an outfielder.
Right.
But with his bat in the lineup, he makes up for it.
Seems like the powers to be or the numbers guys don't really care about the field. They only care about the bat.
Well, I think I push back on that a little bit because the more we have advanced metrics and defensive runs saved and things beyond errors to judge defense, we're starting to, I think, factor in a defensive imprint on the game more. I mean, that was part of the reason Dexter Fowler was moved to right field.
Right.
He was bad last year in center field. He was good offensively when he was healthy.
Right.
And they looked at him and said, we can't give away that many runs in center field, so Tommy Pham's going to go there, and we're going to move Dexter over. So the Cardinals' infield is going to sacrifice some defense for offense this year.
Right.
That's just going to be the way they have to play it because they've got so many moving pieces. Now, with Jed Jerko out, it makes things a little more calcified. Right. You're going to have Jose Martinez at first, and then you're going to move everybody else around. I would prefer to have Colton Wong at second and go that way and play Matt Carpenter at third.
Matheny's keeping the lineup pretty straight, though.
Yeah, he's not changed it so far. In the,
Does that mean
the top seven.
The criticism has been heard, or it's a different team, or?
Well, I'm not the biggest, most outspoken Mike Matheny supporter, but I'll say this: he gets criticized when he doesn't change it, and he gets criticized when he does.
Right.
I think what he's showing right now is that he has faith in this lineup to produce at the way it's stacked, and he wants to prove that to him. Now, at some point, we're gonna maybe have the discussion of, does Dexter Fowler need to move down? Should they move Matt Carpenter up? That's the most obvious change. Paul DeYoung was hitting so well that you maybe wondered if he should be moved up. Now he's having some more strikeouts.
Well, that's because he was playing against the Mets. That's 900 against the Mets.
I think what Mike is saying, look, this is the way it should go. Let's leave it here for a while, let it breathe, and see if everybody can lock in together. Because if they can, it's going to be dangerous.
All right, Ben, Fred, STLtoday.com. What happened to the Blues?
Well, it doesn't help when you have a goalie who you don't know what you're going to get from every day. And that's not the only issue, but
Right.
to me, that's the biggest issue. And that's what they have to figure out this offseason. When you have a guy who has back-to-back seasons now with an in-season disappearing act,
Right.
it doesn't really help your team confidence. Now, that's not the only problem. They have all these they had some injuries, some critical injuries.
Right.
They maybe could have added a player or two, and they didn't. And they had some. They need a good forward to add along with Vladimir Tarasenko. But to me, it starts with Jake Allen. He was the biggest question mark on this team this year, and it's not necessarily going to change moving forward. He's got the contract. He's not the the hottest trade prospect.
Right.
That's an issue.
Let's trade him for Crosby. Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea. But I mean, the team went from the beginning of the season, they were right. I mean, they were the hottest team, right? They were 1, 2, 3, and then if somebody would have said in December or January they wouldn't have made the playoffs, I would have taken that bet. Yeah, and
red hot right out of the gates, and everybody said, "Look, it's a long season." And everybody said, "Well, stop being such a Debbie Downer." And then look what happened.
They had getting my Stanley Cup T-shirts ready.
Some big injuries, but also just I think it affects the psyche of a team when you have a goalie who can go in the tank like that.
Right.
I really do think guys play. That's your last line of defense, and he probably gets too much criticism when things are going wrong and too much blame much credit when things are going right, but it really does all kind of start there, and when they don't know who's going to be back there, then they play a different way in front of him.
Ben Fred is with us. Ben Frederickson, St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. He's with the Sports Guys at night and with us on Mondays. Thanks for coming in.
You bet, man.